All right, good afternoon, young artists. This is April with the Atlanta Music Project. And today, as part of our AMP online masterclass series, we have Jaron Lehman, and he's going to be presenting to us a session on daring dynamics.
Hi, y'all. I'm Jaron, or Mr. Lehman, as some of y'all know me. I've taught some of y'all I haven't taught, and I'm super excited to get to show you guys how to play loud and quiet on brass instruments. First, I want to start by talking about what dynamics are and how we see them, and then we're going to go into how we play them. So Mr. April's going to share up something on your screens, a little key that y'all can use to look at for what dynamics look like and how we see them. So if you wouldn't mind pulling it up, please. There we go. All right. So the first one you see right there says piano. Now, I think a lot of y'all, when you see the word piano, you probably think, oh, that's that big instrument that plays with me when I play a solo, or I see someone playing church or something like that. But that name actually comes from the dynamic piano. And what piano means is soft. It's just that simple. Piano means soft. So anytime you see that little P right there, that's going to mean play softly. And then right next to that, you see forte. And that is the exact opposite of piano. So where piano is really soft, forte is going to be loud, right? And to demonstrate those two, I'm going to play a couple little excerpts for you guys on horn. One of them is going to be piano, and one of them is going to be forte. And I want y'all to all answer after this first one, which one you think it is. So this one's either going to be piano soft or forte loud. Here we go. All right, and all you to yourselves say either piano or forte. Which one do you think it is? And go. If you said piano, then you're absolutely correct. That was a soft excerpt, right? Now we're going to play a loud one, which is going to be forte. And here is how we play forte. That one would be forte or loud. So I have a couple more of the dynamics that we might see today listed after those. But really today we're going to be focusing on the extremes, on the loud and the soft. But just so that y'all know them, I had there next to that mezzo piano, which is MP, and mezzo forte, which is MF. And anytime you see that little M, that mezzo, all that means is medium, or you can think kind of. So where piano is soft, mezzo piano is kind of soft. And forte is loud, mezzo piano is kind of loud. All right? So right below that, you see what looks like little, really long greater than or less than signs, or little hairpins, whatever you want to call them. Those are how we show one way to change dynamics gradually. When people first started writing dynamics in music, this is back in like Bach, 1700s, right? They would change really subtly. It'd go from piano to forte, to piano to forte. But then eventually people thought, what if we could go from piano to forte sort of gradually, right? A little bit at a time. And that's what we see right here. So the first one you see is a crescendo. Everyone say crescendo. Good. I hope you all said that. And it can look two different ways. The first one right here looks like this, right? And then the next one just says crescendo with a little line next to it. And that just means to get louder. So what that will sound like is something like this. right? And then next to that, we have decrescendo, decrescendo. And sometimes it's called diminuendo. I like to say decrescendo because it's a lot easier. And that's just the exact opposite. What that means is you get gradually quieter. And a little trick for this is you can follow the shape of the little sideways triangle, right? You can see it gradually gets closer together. It means it gradually gets smaller, gradually gets softer, like this. Right? So over the course of today, we're going to do a few things that are going to help us learn how to really attack and play at these two different levels, forte and piano. First, I'm going to show you a little excerpt of what these things sound like in context, so in a piece. I'm going to pull up a piece I love playing. This is a piece called Strauss's Nocturna. And if you guys see that, to see where it says P for the first time, not the double P right here, but that P should be next to an A flat. I'm going to play that section for you as if there were nothing written there, no dynamics. And I want you guys to see if this sounds a little bit boring to you maybe, right? Now, while that music was beautiful, at least I hope it sounded beautiful, it didn't really go anywhere, right? It'd be like listening to the same thing on repeat over and over again for a really, really long time. And I think that audiences would get kind of bored of that, right? So the composer was nice enough to write in some instructions for us. The first one is piano, which means soft. And then you can see a little bit later on, we see the one that goes this way, right? And when it gets bigger, is it a crescendo or a decrescendo? Hopefully you guys said crescendo, because that would be correct. So I'm going to play for you now with the proper dynamics, and I want you guys to see if this is much more exciting for you guys. And just like that, we can take what's a pretty normal line of music and make it really something special and really beautiful. I'm going to play one other section for you to show you another way that we can use dynamics while we're playing. If you look just a little bit further down, you should see two Fs right next to each other. That's a special dynamic that we call fortissimo. Now, all that means is very forte or very loud. But as you can see, it just says fortissimo or very loud for a really long time. And nothing really changes until down to that very bottom line of this page. And in the same way that playing with no dynamics is boring, playing with just one can be too. I'll play a little bit with just fortissimo. Right? And while it's fun to play loud, and believe me, I love playing loud, that would also get really tiring on our face and really boring for anyone listening to it really, really quickly. So what we can do is we can look at the music and we can sort of make up our own dynamics as long as they make sense with the line. And here's the trick that I use. If you guys see that first little bit goes up like this, right? That kind of implies that we need to get louder, I think. So let's try getting louder in that first section. So as you can see, when the music goes up, I went up in volume. And when the music went down, I went down in volume. And I think that can really give our music a sense of contrast that we don't always get from just what's written on the page. So Now comes the fun part, which is stuff that we get to all do together. We're going to pull up music in a little bit, but first I want to talk about the source of all volume. Does anyone know what the source of all your volume is? If some of you guys said your air, then you're 100% correct. Now, when you're trying to get faster at running, do you only run, or do you also do like leg strength training? Hopefully you do leg strength training. So what I'm going to start out with is some breath strength training. We're going to all stand up together. I think my angle will work for this. I may stay seated just to keep the camera angle looking nice. But everyone else stand up together, please. And we're going to talk about a couple of basics when we're working out our lungs with air. Two things that you can use to make sure you are breathing very, very well. The first is during these, we're going to use an O shape with our mouth. So normally when we breathe in, it's something relaxed like, right? But right now, I want us to think about breathing through O, not ooh. Ooh is too tense. If everyone says ooh, say it, ooh. Feel right here. Your lips are going to be kind of tense, and we want to be as relaxed as we can be. So we're going to go with O. So everyone breathe in on O with me like this. Then out. In and out. Good. Now here's the second thing that we can do to make sure that our breath is good. Everyone take your hands like this, right? And put them so that your palm is facing to your right. This is my left hand. Same thing with the right hand, but opposite. Basically put it vertically in front of your face like this. And I want you to breathe in through your O with this right here. And it should sound like wind rushing past it like this. I'm gonna close my mic and try that again. Everyone hear that? So when we do that when we're breathing, we can make sure that we are playing with that kind of, that we're breathing with that kind of character. So everyone try that now. Breathe in through this right here. And out. And in. And out. So, does anyone want to demonstrate doing it that way? Do we have anyone who is ready to do that?
Would anyone, any volunteers that want to demonstrate the way that Mr. Jaron just demonstrated? Would you do it one more time?
Yeah, so we're gonna call this our wind check, right? It's gonna be like this. And then out. And in. And then out. Have anyone wants to try that? If not, we can just move on. All right. See. Through.
Looks like we may be having some connection issues. So let's see if Jaron comes back. And as we wait to see if the connection improves, we really want to encourage interaction as well. So it would be great if someone would be brave enough to demonstrate one of these examples. So keep that in mind. Let's see, Jaron, are you back with us? Okay, try it again. Hey, Jaron, you with us?
I think I'm back now. Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out for just a second. It'll do that occasionally. How far did y'all hear to?
We were just after the where you asked if students wanted to demonstrate the breathing exercise.
All right. Do we have someone for that?
No one has stepped up to the plate yet.
That's fine. Let's move on and we can do some exercises all together on our own.
Okay.
So here is our first real exercise. All right. We're going to call this one pop and then out hiss. Everyone say pop, out hiss. Yeah.
Pop, out hiss.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is take our hands like this, put them with the back of your hand facing your mouth, and put it right up against your lips. I want you to try to breathe in and feel the resistance of that air. So not much is going to get in, but get in as much as you can, just like that. Ready? And go. And you get that kind of like vibration sound. That's also totally fine, like this. Right. And now what we're going to do is add one move to that. Everyone try that first. Breathing like this, and you're going to try to stop all the air that you can. It shouldn't be really hard to breathe in. Now, we're going to do the same thing, but partway through, we're going to push our hand away with our free hand, just like this. And that's why it's called pop. Try that. Everyone try that with me. Put your hand up here. And then push it away, creating that popping sound. And then, so what we're going to do is use that to force us to take in a bunch of air all at once, and then we're going to push out for as long as we can. So try that in on a pop, and then push out for as long as we can. Here we go. 2, ready, and. Change to a hiss at this point. So all together, that's pop, out, hiss. And I want you guys to go until you have no air left in your lungs. All right, try it again. Here we go. Pop, out, and hiss. And. Hiss. All right, and again, 2, in on pop. Hiss. All the way out. Good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one, and let's have someone ready to volunteer for this next one to show us what it looks like. We're going to call this next one E to O. E to O. So what we're going to do is we're going to break our first rule a little bit. I said to always breathe on an O shape, but this time we're going to start on an E shape. And an E shape is really bad because it crunches our mouth together, and we sound bad when our mouth is crunched together like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in on an E and then out in bursts to O. And I'll show you what that sounds like right now. You ready at this tempo? So again, that's E on in, then he, ho, 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 in verse, like that. So how about we all try that together? Here we go. In on E, out. Everyone take a big sigh and let it out. All right. We can have someone volunteer to do that one for us, please. We have someone. I'll do it one more time while we're waiting for someone to get lined up. Here we go. In on E, all together. 2, E for 2.
All right, it looks like he's cut out again, and so we'll resume with taking volunteers towards the end of the session, and we'll also take questions at the end of the session as well. And so I think when Mr. Jaron does return, he's going to move on to probably his next topic. And he'll probably be back in just a second. So I'm going to see if we can pull up some of his exercises. And so some of these questions, I'm going to ask some questions more for the beginner students that are at South Bend. And I want to make sure that they understand the different dynamic levels and such. And so I'm going to take this screen off in just a second. But if maybe someone could raise their hand and indicate if they'd like to answer the question on how to indicate or what dynamic level would indicate mezzo forte. And it also looks like Jaron has come back on.
Sorry, my my Wi-Fi is on the fritz right now, so I apologize for that.
No problem. Please continue, sir. And we're going to move past the volunteer section so we can go on to the next part of the lesson.
All right, sounds good. All right, so this next breathing one is going to be a little bit harder, and I want y'all to make sure that we're doing all right. So if for some reason start to feel a little bit dizzy, just like chill out. Don't move on. All right. This is not a completion grade. This is a safety grade. All right. So this is going to be in for 4 and then out for 4, and we're going to go all the way in and all the way out. So I'm going to show you what that looks like first at this tempo. So in for 4, out for 4, in, out. Everyone try that with me. I want you to go all the way full and all the way empty. Ready? 2, 3, and go. Now for 3. With me, 3. Now 2. Stop. Take a big sigh in and let it out.
Hey, and Mr. Jaron, could you unpack that exercise a little bit and break down how you were going from one length and then cutting the length in half, and really break it down so students can replicate that on their own?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'll show you a number right here. It's going to be 4, 3, or 2, and I'm going to be breathing in and out for that many counts, for that many beats, right? So at this tempo, with this click, we're going to go in for 4 clicks, in, 2, in, then out for 4, in, 4, 2, 4, and out, 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 out. And then we're going to change to 3. So in, out, out, out. In, out, out, out. Then down to 2. In, out, out. In, out, out. So we're going to try that. I'm going to show you the number right here. So the good news is you have a cheat sheet, right? There we go. We're going to start with 4. In for 4, get it all the way full and all the way empty in these counts. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. For 4 and out. In, out, out. Make sure you're getting all the way full. One more time at 4. In, 3, 4, and out. Now down to 3. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3. Last time. Now down to 2. Into, out, 2, into, out, 2, into, out, 2, and stop. Take a big deep breath in and let it all out. All right. Now, I'd like for everyone to get out your instruments, and we're gonna pop up a little sheet of music up here. And these are some ways that we can play to help increase our dynamics. All those breathing exercises I did are great ways to start your day. Most of them are pretty quick, and they're a great way to help practice your breath support for your dynamics. I'm going to grab my trumpet for this one, if you'll excuse me. There it is. The first one we're going to look at is number 1 right here. And for this one, we have a couple of tricks that we're going to do to it. So what I've done in my trumpet right here is I've taken out my tuning slide, if you can see, this one right here, the first one that connects to your lead pipe. And you can do the same thing for your horn or your trombone or your trumpet or your tuba, whatever you have with you. Right? And I'm going to try to play this pitch right here. So listen up. That's this pitch right here. That's a C for trumpets. And then horns are going to play a slightly different pitch. Real quick. Horns are playing this pitch instead. Right here, but everyone else is right here. So here's what we're going to do. You see this first one right here? We're going to do whole note at mezzo forte. And can anyone in the chat let me know, what does mezzo forte mean? Does anyone remember what that mezzo was and then what forte is? Anyone? Yeah, very good, Aiden. Yeah, kind of loud. So kind of in the, not quite fully loud, but not soft either. Very good, Aiden. Thank you. All right. So we're going to start right there at I, or 1, rather. It's going to sound like this. Listen, I'm not playing full out. I'm not playing fortissimo. I'm also not playing as quietly as I can. So move that air. Use some of those exercises that we use to get your air moving. Do the same thing just through the horn. I'll play it for you one more time right there at 1. And the good news is, since our tuning slide's taken out, you don't have to mess with the valves at all. This is all in our face. So everyone try that right now. 1, 2, try it, go. Hold, bend, hold, and off. Again, 2, ready, go. Good. I would love to have let's get a volunteer ready to do that one. And then while I'm working on that, and while y'all are working on that, I will introduce the next one. Everyone get your tuning slides back in, please. For this next one, we're going to need that. For the volunteer, obviously, keep it up. Keep on practicing if you want to do that. So this next one, number 2 right here, is a way to get us to play a little bit softer. So what we're going to do is, again, start at mezzo forte, which, as Aiden told us earlier, means sort of loud, medium loud. And it's going to sound just like this. Let me find the right note first, though. The higher trumpets, right? And all I'm doing is this. I'm starting at mezzo forte, and I'm getting softer to piano. And then from piano, which is, and someone in the chat can remind us what piano means. That'd be awesome. Then we're going from piano.
All right, so let's go to the let's go to the next one, Mr. Jaron.
Sorry, which one are we on now? How much help here? I didn't
Well,
know.
were you asking someone to demonstrate? I'm sorry, I was trying to see if I could pull up the PDF for this exercise, but were you asking someone to demonstrate this?
I was, yes. I'm sorry, my internet does not normally do this, so I apologize. Yeah, number one that I just showed y'all, which is this one. Right.
So if you all are, if you're a brass instrument and you're at your residence, make sure that you have your lead pipe out in order to accomplish the tone that Mr. Jaron is achieving. And the benefit of taking the lead pipe out, right, Mr. Jaron, is that there's much less resistance and it's easier to be able to pull out the dynamics that that we're talking about.
Right. So what the thought behind this is that by only having to play through this much instrument, when we add all of this other instrument, it will help us visualize how much air we need to put through it. Because a lot of times people think about putting air to right here, right? And they stop. But air actually has to go all the way out this way, all the way to the furthest point of the room that you're playing in. And by forcing all the air out faster right here, the air moves faster. And we can use that same concept when we put this back in. When we put our tuning slides back in, it should help us play a bit louder. So if we have someone to volunteer for that one.
So, so is anyone out there, and raise your hand as well. Raise your hand on the feature on Zoom to indicate if you're a trumpet player, and I'll look under as well, Mr. Jaron, as we go along. And so we may have some trombone players as well. So trombone players, make sure that you pull out your tuning slide.
Right. So what trombone players do, take out your back tuning slide and then stay in first position. Don't move your playing slide at all. Keep it in first position, and you can do this exact same thing. This is for all brass players. So anyone can take out their tuning slide and then just stay open or first position for trombones, and then play the same little bend buzz, we'll call it.
And this is really a good thing to incorporate into your daily warm up. And I think that as people build up the courage to get ready to volunteer, let's talk about the importance of just incorporating some time on doing this into a daily warm up routine that all of the students should be working on. So everyone, you should have a daily warm up or a daily practice routine. I know we have a lot of time where we are social distancing, where we're at home. So make sure that you spend some time every day on your instrument. And there are a lot of benefits from doing the technique that Mr. Jaron is speaking of. And Mr. Jaron, there's some other benefits as well. So we might be understating the importance of the exercise. And then also, how long do you think the kids should be doing this? Should they be doing it for, should they spend 20 minutes doing this?
Yeah.
You know, so
this is usually the first thing that I play whenever I touch my trumpet or my horn for the day. And I just do it for, I'd say maybe about 5 minutes. And I do it with this taken out, and I do it on the horn so I don't touch the valves at all. I just, like this.
And so you'll also notice while Mr. Jaron was demonstrating the tone, he wasn't pushing the valves down, and the tone came out from an open pitch, but he was bending the pitch with his embouchure. And so that's another technique that can be developed, or another skill that can be developed in playing in this manner and in doing the exercises that Mr. Jaron is talking about. And it helps you to be able to play in tune on the spot where you may not be able to reach your tuning slide and adjust while you're playing in a real world situation. So it's good to be able to bend and manipulate pitches without pushing the valves down. So Mr. Jaron, I was just elaborating a little bit on what you were doing and bending the pitches. You were playing an open G, but you kind of bent it down to an F sharp a little bit, and you did that with your embouchure. And could you describe how to do that? Because that's not something that'll come out the first couple of times that you try to do it.
So the reason that I have us take the tuning slides out is because it's a lot easier to bend that pitch with adjust our air without any help from the instrument. What it amounts to is taking the air speed and slowing it down just a little bit. So airspeed, think about opening the cavity in your mouth just a little more, the space in your mouth, just like that. So if this is your mouth, right, and this is your tongue, just like that. And by doing that, it should help you accomplish this pretty quickly. And then once you get it really, really great on just the lead pipe, so with the tuning slide taken out, once you get that sounding great, then you can put the tuning slide back in and worry about bending it with just your lips with the whole horn there.
And just to throw in a little bit of for the kids that are practicing this too, it's not going to sound good the first couple of times that you try to do this. So this is something that you incorporate, like we say, daily, and you get better and better at doing this. So you may be trying to do it right now, and it may not come out the first couple of times. Keep trying at it, and that's part of the whole process, and that's of what we're doing. You know, we're working on things over an extended amount of time. So it's like you almost like you're planting a seed. So
right. So all of these, any exercise that I've shared today is not an instant fix. Nothing in your playing ever will be. But these are just some thoughts to help you use to achieve these eventually. So both exercise 1 and exercise 2 that I did with the trumpet, both of those are really good to do just a little bit every single day. And then you'll notice the range of your playing ability. So from very quiet to very, very loud, getting wider and louder over the course of of practicing this. Exercise 2, or is that one of the times when my Wi-Fi cut out?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
See exercise 2, or is that one of the times when my Wi-Fi was being stupid?
So exercise 2, that was a PDF that you sent.
So I played that one. Did you guys see me play that one?
Yeah. Yeah, we heard you play it, but actually, if you could play it again one time. And I also wanted to. We're kind of winding down to the last 5 minutes, so I want the kids to be thinking about some questions that they may have. And while think about it. And I think overall, I think one of the challenges that we keep on going back to is your daily and being consistent, your daily routine, in addition to the dynamics. But what does your daily practice routine look like? Because we did say that you spend a certain amount of time doing this, but what other things do you do as a brass player daily?
So some of the other things that I do as a brass player daily are, fancy word for it is lip slurs. And what this can help us do is to really change between notes easily, but also we can add dynamics into this. So what that will sound like on trumpet is something like this. And you can even simplify that and make it just as easy as, which is from a G to a C on trumpets. Horns, you'll have to do it a little bit differently. Horns can do it like this. So between C and E. And everyone else can do it between B flat and E flat, right? Between E flat and B flat, rather.
And I just threw out to the chat, maybe someone will answer it. And if they don't answer it quick enough, we'll tell them to. And I just asked the kids, do they know the name for this type of exercise? So if you're not looking at the chat, young artists. We want to know if anyone knows the name for this this type of exercise. And Mr. Jaron, did you mention how long you spend doing flexibility exercises?
Yeah, this is the one that I spend. So this is the one that I spend the most time doing. I spend anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes a day working on different kinds of flexibility. Of course, my primary instrument is horn. So I go through, I have 4 or 5 that I do. So I'll go through from this one to this one. And I have 2 or 3 other ones that I do. And the only rule for these is that you stay in the same fingering. You do not re-articulate. So you are slurring all these all in the same fingering. And you can do them in any order, in any rhythm that you want to. And it's a cool chance to incorporate some creativity into your daily routine.
And so how long do you suggest for a beginner to practice daily during the days of social distancing? How long do you think an elementary school aged kid should practice per day?
You can spend anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes a day practicing if you want to, or more if you get inspired. But I'd say a good rule of thumb is a 5 to 10 minute warm up, followed by 15 minutes or so of playing like music from that you may have in like your in the books that you use in class, or out of like a little easy song that you can find online, or working on playing songs by ear. But I think a good rule of thumb for y'all listening is anywhere from like 15 to 25, 30 minutes with 10 minutes of that at the most. So 5 to 10 minutes being a warm up.
Got you. And thank you, Mr. Jaron. And in that warm up period, that's when you're doing
all these exercises that I just pointed out.
I've almost said it twice. I think I said it once and almost said it twice, but the name of the exercises of what you were doing are flexibility exercises. And that's where it almost sounds like you're yodeling and playing pitches, like you said, on the same valve combinations. And you start out slow, and you really want to hear where each note kind of slots into place, and you want to be real precise, and it helps you learn the instrument better. And these things also, in addition to having a benefit for playing dynamics well, they transfer into tone quality and playing in tune. And so, Mr. Jaron, we're almost out of time. Do you want to add anything with the last couple of seconds that we have for this session?
Yeah, sure. So things to keep in mind when you're working on dynamics, kind of an overview, are make sure that you actually play loud and actually play soft, right? So if we want to be able to play louder, we're not going to be able to do it perfectly the first time. So the first time you play loud, if the notes crack, if the notes split, that's okay. Just keep on playing loud, and eventually, as long as you're healthy with your face, as long as you don't use too much pressure, eventually you're going to get it. Same thing with quietly. The other thing I say is play a little bit every single day. Any time that you have off is going to be time that you did not spend getting better. So if you play even 10 minutes a day, like, you're going to be getting a little bit better, right? So play every day. Don't be scared to make mistakes as long as you're trying, right? And those are the 2 big things that can really help you in your playing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jaron, and be consistent, young artists, and you'll really notice a difference over time. And once again, thank you very much, Mr. Jaron. And for everyone that was tuning in to this webinar, this was for beginner level students. And so the next class that we're going to do at 5 o'clock is for intermediate and advanced students. All right, we'll see anyone that's going to tune in to that one at 5, and thank you all for tuning in.